Neil, last game of the season. You're on the other side of it this time round, as opposed to last season. For the teams down the bottom, obviously it all rides on this. But for you, pleased to be on the other side of it, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about the pressure at the top and like when you're looking for the playoffs and things like that, but there's no pressure like getting relegated. That's the worst pressure I've ever felt. And if I'm honest, last year there were times in my period when I was started here that I couldn't see us getting another result. There were a week, 10 days where not sleeping at my thinking about how we're going to get a result. And that's how bad it was, and it's horrible. It leaves a nasty taste in your mouth, and because you realise that you're in charge of so many people's disappointments and euphorias and that, and it does get to you at times as a manager. You're not just doing it for yourself; you're doing it for everyone. So it's. I'm glad we sat here in a comfortable position. I know we should be higher, and I shouldn't be frustrated. But as you've said, it's far better than being at the other end.
How do the two extremes differ then? Like you've been a manager at the end of the season fighting for promotion. You've been a manager at the other end fighting to stay in the league. So what are the differences as a manager?
I think the differences are when you're at the other end of the table, you can win every game. I think if you're in the top 6 or 7, you know you can win every game. You've got a good team. When you're at the bottom, you don't know what half of the lads are going to do really from one minute to the next. The consistency is just not there, because that's why they're down there. So I think that's the thing. The pressure at the top is you're disappointed at times with the results, but usually you've either failed to get a result because of your own mistakes, etc. So it is entirely different. I relish the challenge at the top end, only because I think you got to admit that the club's coming down and the parachute payments and some of the lads in the playoffs now, they've got far more, probably the financial muscle that at the moment, and so it is difficult at the moment for other clubs. But Barnsley have shown on a financial budget that what they can do, so that gives everybody hope, I think, in the league.
Is that going to be one of the challenges for you next season, having to compete with that then? I mean, we've spoken all season about, how things are a bit tighter in Middlesbrough now and you have to do things in a different way and you have to be very careful in terms of where the money goes and how you invest that. So when you're coming up against these teams who are coming down and able to throw more money at it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never looked at teams, if I'm honest, and thought they've got more money than us. They've got more facilities. They've got more players than us. I always look. Am I a better manager than him? I look at the managers, not the teams. Can my team beat his? And that's how I sum it up. And I have done all my career. I've never thought, is that club bigger than us? That doesn't bother me at all. It's can I motivate my team better than that manager?
And at the weekend, Wycombe obviously need a massive goal swing, but for Sheffield Wednesday, for Rotherham, one of your former teams, Derby as well, it is really anyone's. Given your past allegiances to Rotherham, are you sort of keeping one eye on them over the weekend in terms of hoping they stay safe?
Well, I'd love them to stay up. Obviously, me Rotherham. I mean, they've really had the short. I mean, we've actually been punished for Rotherham. I mean, Rotherham beat us here because I agreed to rearrange their game early doors, and yet that week probably cost us everything because the Blackburn debacle where I can see Dale Fry's head being kicked off, and no action taken, went into the Rotherham game and the Saturday, and that was a disastrous. I knew then that we wouldn't get in the playoffs, if I'm honest, because of the circumstances. But Rotherham beat us at that time. I think young Woody played that game, and they deserved to beat us. But they've had so many games. I mean, 10 games in 21 days or something. It's, you've got to feel for them, and they know that Cardiff away is an extremely difficult game for them, because Mick won't want to rest anybody. He'll be playing them all, and so it's hard for them. And then the other two, I mean, two massive clubs fighting it out, really. And that's the pressure you're talking about. Wayne and Darren will never have come up against the feelings that they'll have in the build-up now, right up till the end of the game. It's such a horrible taste in your stomach, the pit of your stomach, and you can't explain it really. You've got to be there to know how horrible it is. And for one of the managers, it'll be an absolute success. I mean, Rotherham will be a tremendous achievement to stay in the league. They're on a par for me with Wycombe. I mean, Wycombe have done unbelievable. We talk about Wycombe. You know what I said about Wycombe when we went down there. This is a far bigger miracle than anybody realises. Wycombe Wanderers being in the Championship. What Gareth's done, I don't think anybody realises the enormity of it with a club like Wycombe. I watched that playoff game when they got promotion, and I was ecstatic for him. I didn't think it would be possible for a club like Wycombe to get in the Championship at that particular time. And like he says, to come into the last game without an R alongside the name is an absolute unbelievable achievement. So, whatever happens with Wycombe, it's a success story. And I have nothing but time for Gareth. I'm not a big fan of his haircut and his rocking, but you can't hold that against him. I don't think I'd get away with his gear either, do you, really?
Unique is how we label it in the media, isn't it? It's definitely unique.
Yeah.
After the way last season ended, the progress, I suppose, for you is there to see in the league table, isn't it, where you are now? I know playoffs is what you wanted and disappointed that you're not thereabouts fighting for it. But what for you has pleased you the most this season about the team and about the club in general, despite not quite getting to where you were hoping to get to?
Yeah, I think that last year I was still learning about the team. And it was a quick rush job. We didn't have any sort of off-season and things. And a lot of players were still under contract. So we'd really had what we got, really. Whereas this season, I think we've got the nucleus of an excellent side. And now I'm looking for players that can come in and do a job when my best players get injured. That's the real challenge for this summer. Because I think we've got as good a side as anybody in the league. Defensive wise and midfield, I just think the other part of the jigsaw, which gets you promotion and gets you success, are the goals. So we've got to find more goals. We've got to find more goals from every area, really, and that's what we're looking at this summer, to try and come up with a formula where we can get goals next year, because we've definitely got the best defence in the league. It wouldn't worry me playing our first team back four. Or five. It wouldn't worry me playing that in the Premier League. I don't think we'd be going amiss at all. So it's just trying to get the other components. Most teams are trying desperately to get a back four like we've got. We've got that back four or five now, and to get everybody back fit for pre-season, and then take the club forward. The fans are going to play such a massive part next year. I've even got goose pimples talking about it now, but for me to come out with 30,000 fans at the Riverside, and know I'm going to give them, and at the end of a game where we've got a great win and I punch the air. I love punching the air to the fans, after the game, and that's what it's all about, really. I did a fans forum last night with them, and they're all so dedicated. People don't realise, these billionaires that wanted the Premier League and whatever, the Super League, they don't realise these people's lives are determined by the football club. It's not a matter of just turning up on a Saturday afternoon and paying your money. These lads and ladies, they do the whole life revolves around it. So it's for me, a final fitting tribute would be to put smiles on everybody's faces next year and play with a verve that we enjoy every game, and that we can go home and away, and we know the fans are going to be with us as well. Yes, ups and downs, but one to look forward to. And listen, if I was 15, 20 years younger, I'd be quite happy this season. That we've made progress, and my ambition would be to finish in the top 10, which we can do, obviously. But because of my age, you get a little bit. You want everything yesterday. So that's a frustration for me. I know how close we were If one or two players had come up with the goods, I think we could quite easily have been in the top six. So it is frustrating for me, but I have to put that back at one side now and look to try and make it even better for the fans and for Steve next season.
So just give us a bit of a perspective, put it into perspective for us a little bit then, just in terms of the amount of work or what needs to happen this summer for you to get to where you hope to be next season and to deliver that.
Well, we need a bit of luck. Everybody needs luck. Everybody's looking for strikers. There aren't that many around now, unless you pay £10 million, and we haven't got that sort of money. So, we're all looking in the same area. I've got to find gems that I can turn into those type of players, and that's the difference. But I don't think. I still look at us and I have a vision on what I'm looking for, and I think it's achievable. But we have to be lucky. I have to talk these players into wanting to come to Middlesbrough. And different age groups and the players concerned. I think I would like to bring one or two older players in as well as the younger elements. I think that middle 25 to 30 bracket, we haven't got many of those in really. We've got a really young squad, which is great for the club, the future of the club, without a shadow of a doubt. But I'm looking for the people, like I've said, that can take places of the Dale Fries and Dick Steels, and then when they get injured, and look to and not really change much about us.
And Wycombe, obviously, as we said earlier, they're fighting for it, absolutely everything. So, you expect them to come straight out the traps on Saturday?
Well, they've nothing to lose, have they now? The good thing is they can only play 11. So that's the good news. I don't think I'd like to take them all on. There's some right size amongst their group. But we're ready. We've had a decent season, and you see in the last few games, there's no way our lads have gone on holiday. You go to places like Rotherham. It's bloody hard work, and Sheffield Wednesday at home was hard work. And then Saturday at Luton, but they kept going. We are a bit thin on the ground at the minute, but we've got to get through the last game, and then look to the future.
And just finally, you talked about getting, potentially maybe some verbal agreements or a few handshakes last week before you go away after, obviously, the weekend's game and before you go away for your break. Have you managed to get many of them in place?
Oh, no, none at all at the moment. It's a difficult field at the moment. I think it's only fair that you let people get into the last game and play the last game and then start talking, really. So, no doubt, early next week we'll be talking about targets and making the correct inquiries, really.
Do you think in a few weeks' time you'll look back at this season and think it was an important work in progress rather than that sort of feeling of disappointment about what might have been regarding the playoff?
No. No, I'll be every time I think about this season, I'll be disappointed, if I'm honest, Mark. From my own point of view, I think, there's no way we should have lost points like we've lost. The goals we've conceded and things like that at crucial times. No, not really. I'll really think it's a disappointment we haven't got in the top six.
But if you are pushing next season, I suppose some players will have actually used this season to sort of get some of the building blocks in place that really will help.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that. Yeah, I think quite a few lads have realised, that what we've got the possibility of in the club, especially, the players looking in, like I've been taught, obviously, as you do, you talk to the injured lads, you try and keep them involved when it's coming toward the end of the season, and you talk to people like Tavernier and Dale and Dick Steele. Well, you don't talk to Dick Steele. He don't talk Dick Steele. But you talk to the other lads, and you can feel that anticipation. If I'm honest, I think it's lovely to know. I think the lads trust me to try and give them the tools where they've no excuse. They can't hide behind this. They can't hide behind that. It's all about standing up, and home and away next year we want to go and try and win games.
And has it helped that for a few weeks, or months even, they have known who's going to be the boss next season, and that has given the clubs a degree of sort of certainty.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think there'd be speculation about players leaving and everything like that coming up, whereas the lads concerned know that, forget reading the papers in the next few weeks, you're not going anywhere. And they know how important they are. But the type of lads we've got that we're talking about, they're absolute gems. They want the club to get success. They want the club to go forward. So, you've got a chance. You haven't got anybody that's, knocking on my door saying, I want to go to the Premier League and, my agent says this or that. They all want to help. They all want Middlesbrough to do well, it's a great place to be, that, when you've got players like that.
And trying to unearth this striker that's going to score you 15, 20 goals next season. I mean, it's presumably been much more difficult to scout during the coronavirus pandemic, I would have thought.
Yeah, it has. I mean, even as we talk now, we're trying to organise. We've got to look at foreign football leagues. So we're trying to organise trips to watch a couple of players and quarantines and everything. It is a bloody minefield. You need so many pieces of paper for different countries and things. But as I've said, I won't be sending anybody without myself or one of my sidekicks watching them.
And I suppose those sort of players like Ollie Watkins, Ivan Toney, who've stepped up a division and done very well, of course, they won't be under the radar, really. Everybody will be looking at them, won't they? Yeah,
absolutely. There's one or two like that at the moment, but, I'm not sort of a big fan of some of them either. So it's looking for what you think you need, really. And I think everybody knows that I always do better without spending money, Mark.
Good luck, Neil. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Chris.
Hi, Neil.
Hi, sir. Got you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I've got you, Chris.
All right, nice one. Neil, obviously we're coming to the end of the season. If this was a school report card for this season, what would you grade yourself?
From what numbers? What grade from what? 1 to 5? A, B, C?
A plus, B minus?
I'd say probably a B. I'd probably be a B. I wouldn't be as what's the word I'm looking for? I wouldn't be as not nasty. I wouldn't be as harsh. No, that's not bad, using that. I wouldn't be as harsh as a C or something like that. I think a B's about right. It's just I would add could do better. Warnock, like I used to get on my reports. Could do better, Warnock. Mr. Merton, who used to get the cane out when I was a bad lad. Can't do that nowadays, can you?
No, absolutely not. That's not allowed.
Yeah.
I can tell, though, from what you were saying previously, that you are disappointed that it hasn't been the sort of success that you would have hoped for.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Nobody really expected it, and that, but that's not the point for me. The point is for me that it's our own fault. It's not been other teams that's been better than us. It's our own fault. It's like we've made the mistakes that's cost us dearly. Well, no, we haven't done it all together. We've had help from the referees. I think like I go back to the Blackburn game, that was manslaughter. That. And then you get Dick Steele out for the season with somebody off the ball at Swansea and decisions that cost me $7,000. Which I find very difficult to accept, really. So it's been a matter of, a lot of things in there, but I'm still disappointed, because I felt that we were good enough to do that.
How do you cope with the expectation? Because the supporters will look at next season and go, oh, next season's going to be our season, and they'll look at your track record of delivering promotions. How do you manage those expectations?
Well, I just do my best. I mean, if the supporters ever want me to go up, I'll be on my bike, won't I? So it's simple as that. I don't need it. I don't need the hassle now. I just feel I'm the best guy to do the job that the club needs doing at the moment. And, you talk about me, it's my last year. Well, who's to know what's your last year? You sign a 5-year contract and get the sack in 3 months. What's a contract nowadays? I think the contract is that I'm working for a guy that I deeply respect and want to do well for. That's your contract, really. So I don't look really beyond. I'll give it my best shot. If it's not good enough, I'll help the club move forward, hopefully.
And just looking to next season, do you think with a couple of additions you've got enough to go up automatically, or do you think next year it'll be playoffs at best?
No, I think I better clarify this. Everybody thinks we're going to be brilliant. We're going to be about mid-table, when you look at the odds. I'd be very surprised if we're above mid-table. So we've got to be careful. I want to go up because it is my coming to my end of my career. So I want us to get promotion. So I'll be doing my best. But we'll have to outgun a lot of big teams, a lot of money teams, so all our players need to really come up tops. I've got to get the best players I can to supplement the team. We need more than two. We need quite a few new players in the squad. So it's going to be a battle, but I'm determined to do that really, and I think it's possible. Like I say, we need a bit of luck because strikers wise, there aren't a lot around at the moment. So I've got to pluck people that I think I can get something out of really. So that's what I'm going to be looking at, seeing where I can come up with.
Steve Gibson is sort of well renowned for supporting his managers. Have you had conversations with him about him getting his chequebook out?
We don't do things like that really. We just talk. If I went to Steve and said I want this player and he's going to cost me $2 million, he's the answer to all my dreams, he'd let me have him. At the same time, if he thinks a player or an agent's asking for a couple of grand more than what they should do, he'll tell me I can't have him. It's a very unique situation with Steve. He wants value for money, and quite rightly so. And I don't think I've ever gone in knocking on his door asking for money. I think he's supporting me as fully as he can in this pandemic, which is an absolute, I mean, if the supporters knew how much a month he's putting in out of his own pocket, they probably wouldn't even dream about criticising him. I think we're very fortunate up here. I watched Arsenal last night, and I always smile when I watch Arsenal, because I was Wenger's biggest supporter, and the fans down there slaughtered him for 18 months, and I thought, why are you putting up with all this? Are they any better now? Oh, they are. So I was, I just think, be careful what you wish for as a supporter.
So if this season you're giving yourself a B, must do better, what mark would you like for next season?
Less mistakes at the back in particular, decision making. I think there's different areas we need strengthening in, good areas, vital areas as well around the pitch. So that's what I'll be looking at as soon as possible if I can, and then picking up one or two later on in the window to supplement the squad we've got. And there may be players going out. You never know with that, but hopefully we won't get the offers for the players I'm talking about. The ridiculous offers that it would take to get them out.
Last one. The off season obviously is a chance for you to unwind. Obviously, I know you'll have one eye on the football side of things, but do you think you'll get the chance of a foreign holiday? No chance.
No. I wouldn't even dream of going abroad. A foreign holiday to me is going up to Scotland. Little log cabin up there I've got, so I might get up there. I haven't been able to go to Scotland for 8 months. I don't think I've been home to Cornwall 6 months. So it's there's worse places than Scotland and Cornwall, isn't there? I mean, why would you want to go abroad? I mean, I've never been a sangria man on the beach with a bloody deck chair. I remember when I was younger, it was all the Germans that putting the bloody towels out on the chairs first, wasn't it? In the morning, we used to rush down from before breakfast and get your towel on a bloody. Well, them days are gone now. I'm a scenery and fishing man, and fortunately, my wife likes walking, and you're not going to get better places. I'd even like to look a little bit round here. I drove round. I've got pictures of my mum and dad on the 350 Royal Enfield at Beedale, a place called Beedale, when they on honeymoon. And I went out there to try and find this little bridge, what they were pictured on. And there's some lovely areas around here, isn't there? So I think, I wouldn't dream of going abroad at the minute. And I mean, it's horrible for the travel firms and what have you, but, you've got to, The only good plus thing for us is we must be the best country in Europe, one of the best in the world. Good old Boris, you know. I mean, the vaccination thing's been unbelievable. You know, when we try and criticise him for having some bloody wallpaper, you know, I think I'd rather have 50 million people vaccinated, if I'm honest.